So, welcome to the Women Thrive official book launch event. It's so good to see you all here. I see so many amazing faces here. We see our authors who have been on this journey of writing the Women Thrive book. This has certainly been a journey. We've been working together for probably 6 months of writing our stories, and this is our testimony of overcoming adversity. So it's just exciting to be here because it hasn't been an easy journey writing our stories, becoming vulnerable, going through reliving our painful stories, because the purpose of the book is really to inspire you. But through our own journeys, we have had to go through moments of defeat. We had to go through moments of adversity and perhaps overcome some really challenging times. But the fact that we are here and the fact that we are sharing our stories means we have been brave enough, strong enough, courageous enough to overcome our adversities. And we hope that this book will inspire you, maybe give you courage, maybe give you hope. Maybe today you won't resonate with one of the stories in the book because it's not something you've ever been through, but it's still going to inspire you. Or perhaps one of these stories will help you get through some of your own adversities in life. We hope you don't have to experience what we have experienced in our lives. But these chapters are truly personal to us because some of the stories you will hear, and even today, are the true testimonies of the things we have had to overcome. So it's an honor to have you all here and that you have made the time to be part of this book launch event. This is our first, for some of the authors, this is the first time they're becoming authors. For others, it's perhaps the second or third time of releasing a book, and it's so, so exciting. So thank you all for your support. I look forward to reading your comments in the chat. So I want to invite just to say hello again to some of our speakers, but also to say hello to all of you here today. So I'll say hello to Vicky. Vicky, let us know where you're joining us from today.
Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm in London in the UK, and so it's evening time for me and for my supporters who are here. So thank you very much, those of you who are here on a Saturday night when you could be somewhere else. I really appreciate it.
And I'm excited about this celebration, this book celebration. We had a chat a few days ago. You're like, I just can't believe it's happening already.
It's come round so fast, and yet it hasn't. It's a funny one, isn't it? But I know we're all so excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, of course. Well, I can't wait to hear from you, Vicky, and everyone else. Today we'll go around just to get to know our speakers a little bit more. So over the next, let's say, half hour, we will hear just a little bit from every speaker. And then we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. So I would love for you to also, if you have any questions for our authors, to put them in a chat. The book is actually available on pre-order as well on Kindle. So it's 99 cents at the minute to just order on Kindle, which will be delivered on the 28th. And if you do want to grab a hard copy, it will also be available on the 28th to order. So good to see you and welcome. Thank you so much for being here and dedicating your time. I would like to kick us off with one of our authors, who is Deepika, who's based in California. It's been a pleasure working with Deepika because last year she was one of our speakers at the Women Thrive Summit, and her story is phenomenal. She's not a first-time author, and she has a truly inspiring story and dedication of making a difference in this world. So Deepika, over to you to kick us off.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and a big congratulations to all of the women authors that are here today. Many of them, like with this publication, For me, this is my third presentation, and I am just super excited to continue to share my story with everyone here today. And my story is one of how you continue to triumph after tragedy. How do you continue to triumph after trauma? So much has happened to so many of us in our lives, and we can take those as these big, giant setbacks, these big horrible moments. And for so long, I spiraled in the bad stuff that would happen, right? I would stay with those bad moments and they would hit me for long, long periods of time. But through my own journey, I learned that if you can just keep going, if you can just honor the voice within yourself that is nudging you, moving you to a different way, to a different place of being, and that you keep hearing that voice and keep going with that voice and knowing, really knowing that it's taking you someplace you are actually meant to go, there is magical possibilities at the end of that. When you are sitting in your trauma, when you are sitting in your tragedy, when you are sitting in this moment where life feels so hard, and you still get that little nudge within that says, you got to keep doing this. You've got to keep going. Honor it, hear it, move with it, go with it. Because on the other side of that fear that you have are all of the magical possibilities for your life. And that was it for me. I mean, my story is one of for some people, it might not even seem like a big deal. This is the great part of this book, right? We've got stories in this book about addiction and different kinds of trauma and tragedy and death and health issues and racism and injustice, all of it. Mine is a story about divorce, which for me felt as traumatic as almost anything else that I think people would qualify as trauma. And that's the interesting thing about trauma, right? There are things that leave imprints on our soul are very personal to us, right? And it could be something big for somebody else, something small for someone else. But for you, it was that thing that hit so hard for you. And for me, moving through my own experiences, going through this process was extremely difficult, riddled with shame, disappointment in myself, sadness, and this deep despair. But yet, in those moments that were so hard, I kept hearing this voice that said, you've got to keep going. And I am so glad I did, because 5 years, 5.5 years post those experiences, I am currently living a life that I could not even imagine in my wildest dreams. If you told me 5.5 years ago I was going to be a 3-time published author, I would have spit my drink out at you. Like, there was just no way that that's who I was and what was going to happen for me. But this is what I'm doing today. I am doing my business career as a Silicon Valley business executive. I am a published author. I am an inspirational speaker. I am an authenticity coach. I help people show up as their most authentic selves because there is no other way to live. When you live from that space of authenticity, everything else comes forward for you in a way that just feels so aligned to your soul. And that is the story that I share in Women Thrive. And I think my big message is you are meant to be on this earth to thrive. You are meant to thrive. You are meant to wake up every day feeling good about this life that you are living. And I hope this book gives all of you out there the inspiration that you need to get to that place that if you aren't thriving, if you aren't feeling that way about your days, you absolutely can. You must, you should, you've got to redirect everything into getting to that spot where that can be your. It certainly is for me. And I am just so honored to have shared this story with this group. And thank you, Raymonda, for putting all of this together.
Thank you so, so much, Deepika. And your chapter comes first in the book to really share your story. And every story in this book is just as powerful and inspiring and motivating. And no matter what you're going through, just know that on the other side, there's still hope. You can still make a change in your life. So it doesn't matter where you are on your journey right now. We hope you're not going through any trauma right now or crossroads, which for me was true. I was also at a crossroads when, or right at, well, in my chapters, I share my story, and I will share a little bit about that later on. Deepika, thank you so, so much for kicking us off. You're truly inspirational woman. It's been a pleasure working with you on this book chapter. And you truly were one of the first initiators of this. You said, Ray, when are we doing a book? We work with so many inspiring women. Isn't it about time we write a chapter in the book? And I was like, Deepika, oh my God, thank you for initiating it. Um, Vicky, I would love to invite you to share your story. Again, it's been such a pleasure working with you, Vicky. You have a moving, inspirational story, and I am so glad that you made some of those decisions in your life, and you are here to share your testimony because I believe that your testimony, as well as many others, can change people's lives.
Thank you so much. And yeah, following on from what was shared by Deepika, and she talked about listening to that little inner voice. And that's what got me to come onto this journey with you wonderful, inspiring people, was I listened to my little inner voice. But my story helps you to understand that I was in that deep, dark place that was spoken about, but I came from a different place. Mine was self-induced to help me to somehow block things out and feel better about me. My issues with alcohol, with body image, with bulimia, with suicide attempts, and all of that stuff were something that I thought I would never escape from. I would never get out of. I couldn't see a way out. And the voices I were listening to were plentiful and were many. And if anybody understands what it feels like to be in that place of despair and not knowing, which voice do you listen to? And that's what I struggled with for so much of my life, because I wanted to be all things to all people so that I could feel better about me. And if anybody has been on that journey or is on it now, you'll know you can never do it. It's impossible. But I thought that looking after me first was selfish. And I was brought up not to be selfish, but to worry about other people and what they thought, and make sure that they were all good, and never mind how you felt. And so my story talks about how I managed to finally put down alcohol and get to a space and a place where I started to actually believe myself and could finally listen to the correct voice out of the many that was talking to me. And my story, I hope, inspires people to understand that I recognized I was just so completely separated from myself. I had no clue who I was at all. But the joy of that was that I could then create and become whoever I wanted to be. And that realization was what allowed me to actually go with curiosity and just doing what I thought was the next best thing and waiting to see what happened instead of needing to know what the outcome was all of the time. And I recognized that my use of alcohol and food and my focus on how I looked was really just a symptom of me not actually knowing who I was. And when I went on the journey of finding out who I was, well, then I couldn't stop. I started to look at science and neuroscience and hormones and genetics and why do we do the things that we do and how does our brain work? And all of that stuff has allowed me to create a program and a way of helping people that I wish had been around when I was struggling. And so that's really what inspired me to be a part of this journey, and going through the process with the other ladies and listening to their stories and hearing what they've been through and what they've shared, and recognizing that we all have similar thoughts and similar emotions. It's just the way that they show up in our lives. And what I think this book brings to everybody is a sense of inspiration, education, hope, and a desire to, as Deepika said, keep on going, because the fun is in the process and there isn't a destination for me. I'm just loving every minute of it. And thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this process, because without it, I would have never have met you wonderful ladies. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Vicky. And I'm so glad that you said this is a journey. And I always say it is a journey, because in life, you know, whatever destination we're trying to get to, it seems like we're trying to get to our goals, to the end place. But really, there is no end, because the minute you get to that end place, there is somewhere else you're yet to go. And this journey of writing our book, our chapter, our book, has been a journey. And along the way, all of us have been through some ups and downs. And we had to be open and flexible to this journey. This book was meant to be released in December, but we had to also adjust and go with the changes. And this is what life is. It will take you on different alleys and journeys and turns and twists. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Sometimes some things will happen that will pull a rug from under your feet and shake things up. But here's the thing, when things like that happen, this is your opportunity to make a new choice, to look at your life again and say, maybe I need to make a different choice. Maybe I need to make a different turn. And maybe this is my opportunity to make a change. So sometimes life brings us to these points in our life where we can make a change. And that's certainly so, so powerful. So never be afraid of going through the ups and downs of life, because some things are meant to be here for us to learn those lessons and make adjustments. Next up, a truly inspiring woman who I've met a few years ago. And I remember when meeting her, I was just taken aback by her commitment to girls and women empowerment, her work in her community and the work that she's doing in business, and of course, the charity that she has founded. So it's my pleasure to invite Nitu. Nitu, would love to have you share a little bit about your story on our stage.
Thank you so much. And it is an absolute honor to be here today, especially alongside such a dynamic and just inspirational group of women that it has been an absolute joy to be a part of this book project with. And, you've truly taught me what thriving is and to embrace myself. And it's just been such an honor. And I would like to start by introducing myself as Neetu Diolchaj, and I am the daughter and byproduct of decades of hardworking immigrant parents who opened doors and opportunities that I could have only dreamed of as a young brown girl. And I want to start there because that's where my story starts, is as many other children of immigrant parents, we fail to, at a young age, actually embrace who we are and embrace those immigrant roots and stop to think about the sacrifice and hard work that visa took for our parents to come here, for their colleagues to come here, for my in-laws to come here and actually make something of themselves. They come here with nothing to their name, no money to their name, no property to their name, but yet it's such an inspiring story of what a person can become from the most humble of roots. And it was when I, as a young brown girl, contemplated, how do I become successful in this world? And I was looking at cookie cutter and box cut approaches to, okay, these are the steps I need to take to truly be successful here in America. But it was when I actually stopped and I embraced my true roots and what makes me who I am, is when I went on this path of self-discovery and realized everything that I needed, I had had. From the moment I was born, I had had in me the cultural lines that were embedded, that permeated my entire soul and taught me who I needed to be. And my story starts with my great grandmother and my grandmother, who were the firstborn women in their family. My mother was the firstborn woman. I was the firstborn woman. And it's this generation that has really inspired me. And my grandmother came here with nothing to her name, but she found a way through her own skill set. Rather than trying to go out there and acquire all these skills, she just looked from within and thought, well, I know how to sew. I know how to teach. And she used those exact skill sets that she had already had and now came on this unfamiliar territory and soil and embraced it in such a way that she was able to get her son to start engineering school. She was able to help provide for her family and take on that role as a woman to really play a big part in her household. And then it was my mother that inspired me, and is a partner now in a software company, and just did such a wonderful job in showing me that a woman can come here with a language barrier, communication barrier, and make something of herself. And I am so grateful for the opportunities that I was provided in that software company, in the software world, to really learn and embrace who I was and my roots. And then my story carries to when I moved to the Central Valley with my husband and his family, and started a part of the countryside family and became a part of it. And it's decades of hard work by immigrants who really, from the most humble of roots, now provide opportunity for 500 families who have jobs. And it's just such an incredible story of those who have really paved the path for me to get to where I am today. And I really would not be here without them and the sacrifices they've made. And it was when I took time to embrace who I was and my immigrant roots that I realized the impact and difference I could make in this world. And so now, just like they paid it forward, their sacrifices paid it forward to me. With my daughters, Raina and Raya, we started Reina Raya, which is a girls' empowerment clothing line that donates proceeds to educate girls, to empower girls, so that they learn to embrace themselves for exactly who they are. Educate yourself, girl. Empower and embrace yourself for who you are, and wait to see the impact that you're going to make in this world. So my story is really about, no matter what humble beginnings you come from, if you come from nothing, you can make something of yourself. You can achieve success. You can be a contributing factor to your own and your family's success, and a major force of inspiration for others. And above all, it's about thriving. So thank you so much to all of you for being here and being in support.
Thank you so much, Neetu. Such an inspiring story. And I also come from immigrant family in, well, originally from Lithuania, and we moved to the UK. And I know sometimes, we have to put in the hard work, and just being grateful to our family and those who come before us. Neetu, I know you do a lot of girls empowerment work. What inspires you to keep going and make this impact in the world?
That's a great question. And I look to my two young daughters who are watching my every footstep. They're watching my every move. And they know that the steps that I take as their mother are the steps that they're going to follow in, just as my mother did for me, and my grandmother did for me, and great grandmother did for them. And so, what really inspires me is that ability and opportunity that my family has been able to provide for me. And now I've been so fortunate and grateful to have what I have, and it's really time to pay it forward to that next generation of girls, to boost them up and show that there is an opportunity for them. And through my work on various nonprofits, that is really the way that I'm able to do that, and really just pay ode to the ways in which I've been fortunate and blessed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I can't wait to hear more from all of our speakers. And it's true, Tiffany says, little eyes are watching. And this is true. We never know who's watching, who being inspired by our journey, by our courage, by our strength. So even when you think you're not making any impact, perhaps, okay, maybe your role isn't a public speaker, perhaps you're not an author, but the truth is, in everything you do in your life, you can set an example. And not just example, even if you don't have kids or nieces or nephews or those behind you, there are other people in your life who perhaps are drawing inspiration from you. So keep on going, being strong, being courageous, and leading by example. It's so important in today's world. And I think that in today's world, particularly, we need great leadership, whether you're a man or a woman. We need great leadership. We need great examples around us that other people can follow in our footsteps. I am very excited to invite another lady today from another part of the world, completely the opposite side of the world, also who has followed in her family's footsteps, who has incredibly successful business in Australia. who have been through her own and family adversities herself, but no matter what, she persevered. Her story truly inspired me. When we first connected, I said, oh my goodness, this young lady, her story needs to be told. So it's an honor, pleasure to invite Mary to share her beautiful story on our stage.
I promised myself that I wouldn't cry, and I got through Ray's intro and I'm already tearing up. So I'm just I already failed that one. But I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be part of this book launch and part of this book project in general. The women in this project have just been so incredibly inspiring. You know, even without having read their stories in the beginning, just watching their videos, just listening to them talk has been incredible. And it gave me the courage that I needed to finally tell my story. It's something I've been sitting on for a long time. And it was such a emotional journey for me, for all of us, but I didn't want to do it at first. You know, I have both of the little voices, the intuition that tells me to move forward, but then the other one that is constantly pulling me down, constantly telling me that I can't do it, that I won't ever amount to anything, that I won't ever succeed at anything. And you know, it's so hard to push that voice away and listen to the other one on your shoulder. It's brutal. It's every day. You know, you listen to that self-doubt, you have that anxiety. I've been struggling with panic attacks for most of my life, and it's really tough. But then when you're surrounded by so many incredible women, you find that strength, and all it takes is one person to believe in you and one person to say your voice matters and I want to hear it, and it changes the world, you know. And that was what happened for me. And my story has been a very tumultuous one. It's you know, a little bit different to some of the other women here, but that's exactly the point. Each one of our stories is different. And as Deepika was saying, one person's trauma may not be the same as another person's trauma, but it doesn't belittle that trauma in any way. It doesn't make it unimportant. And in fact, I think the point of this book is that when you hear it, when you hear everyone's stories, you think, well, you know, I relate to that. Even if it's in the tiniest way, I relate to that. And that was one of my biggest issues growing up. I grew up in the family business. We started the business when I was 8 years old. I've been doing it for 22 years now, 23 years this year. And it's all I've ever known. I grew up working 7 days a week. I come from a European background, and it's all about working until you die, and you die until you work too hard, which is something that we're working a lot on changing this year. You know, we've been going through a lot and are trying to work on pulling back and taking that self-care into play. But you know, I grew up very alone because working so much and being European in Australia, it's actually funny. Australia is one of the most multicultural countries in the world, but Australians themselves are very not cultural. So they don't understand, you know, a lot of the things that we go through, a lot of the things that I grew up with, and none of my friends could understand why I had to work or why I put schoolwork first or anything like that. And so it's very lonely, you know, you feel very disconnected from the world. And then when you run a business, when that's yours, it's even more lonely because you have to separate yourself from staff. You have to separate yourself from everything that you do. And when you work that much, you just feel very disconnected from the world. And that's how I spent the last 10 years. And then I realized that there's actually this amazing support network out there, and that there are millions of other women that are going through the same thing, that have had the same trauma. And I also realized that there's no real one big thing that happens to you. You know, it's not like this thing happens and your world ends and then you pick yourself up and you move on. You get older and more things happen, and you just learn to deal with it. You learn to get through it. And, you know, it is true that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the thing that made me the strongest was having this network of women, and you know, I keep saying it, but realizing that I wasn't alone. So that was what I wanted to instill in my chapter, or what I wanted to come out of this book. And what I think we really have accomplished is that you can read this story at any time in your life. You can pick up this book and read a different chapter, and what you may not have connected to yesterday, you might today. And there are so many different takeaways from this book that will just make you feel like you belong. You have a friend in the pages of this book, in the women in this room, in the women in your community, and you can always reach out. Even when you think no one is watching, someone is, and someone cares.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mary. Your chapter is absolutely beautiful. And just the story that you've shared in this book is really, really inspiring. I know you didn't touch much on it, so you don't want to create any spoilers out there. But it's so true. And how is this journey for you as an author? Because I know this has been something on your vision board for so long, and you get to do this now.
It has been. It really has. My whole life, all I've wanted to be was a published author. I've always loved writing. I've always loved telling stories. And for me to be able to tell my story first was nothing short of life-changing. I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have on me to be able to tell my story. And I didn't realize how much I was carrying by not telling it. So much was bottled up that I wasn't processing, that I wasn't dealing with. And it has just been so empowering, and so much of my life has changed in the last 6 months going through this journey. And I really invite you to tell your story. Even if no one reads it, tell your story, because for me, just writing it down, I cannot tell you. And don't hesitate. You start writing it and you want to just touch on it because you think no one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear the truth. No one wants to hear the nitty-gritty, the hardest parts of your life. But that's exactly what they want to hear, because that's exactly what they're going through. Don't hide from the raw emotions. Let it out there, because it will absolutely change your life in so many ways, if for no other reason but to open you up to receiving that next step. Whatever that door will be, you'll feel confident enough to walk through it. And that's what this book has given me, and what Ray and this community has given me. Just tell your story. Tell your story, even to yourself, because you don't realize how much you're keeping back from yourself until you write it down.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. It's been a pleasure to have you on this journey, and our journey hopefully just beginning with making impact with this book. And I'm so glad that you said you're not alone. And this is the kind of space that we want to create, a safe space, supportive space, encouraging space for you to feel like you're not alone, and to feel like you can be yourself no matter who you are, no matter what you have been through, no matter what journeys and trials and tribulations you had to go through in your own life, because it's okay. And the truth is, as we get to share our stories, you start to realize we're not alone. And this is what I realized very early on, was when I started to create these Women in Business or Women Thrive events and connect with other women. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing to have, nothing against men whatsoever, but just to have a safe space for women to share. We all know women love speaking, but it just feels so much safer to be in a women environment and to be able to share our unique challenges, and then to realize, actually, oh, I am not alone. And this is what I felt for so many years. Like, I was alone going through it. But as soon as I started to share my story, I realized I'm not. So the next speaker, author, I'm very excited to invite this lady also, who's been holding back on sharing her story. She's been spotlighting and supporting everyone else, and doing so much amazing and empowering work for girls and women, and helping others overcome trauma. But she never really put spotlight on herself. So this is her opportunity to share her story, because she truly has inspiring and moving testimony. Next up is Erica Tanton Shade. Hi, Erica. Good to have you here.
I was like, who is she talking about? That can't be me. But yes, it is such an honor to be here. Um, I'm still floored by this process, and that we're finally at the finish line of this process. My chapter in particular is really about three different things. It's about courage, clarity, and confidence. So courage is having the courage to really speak up for yourself, right? Putting yourself out there, using your voice. The clarity part is getting really clear about who you are. And for me personally, that was something that I struggled with, right? I could help other people find their courage and find their clarity. But for me, it was like, I'll do this later, right? I don't need to do this just yet. The confidence part is knowing who you are and being proud of who you are. And going through this process just really helped me reconfirm that I have the ability to speak up, right? I have the ability to be proud of what I've accomplished. And even the parts we don't always want to share, that those are part of the journey, and making sure that I embrace that as part of who I am. So it's, like I said, it's such an honor to be here. This has been an amazing opportunity, and reading the other stories and getting to know all the other ladies, it's just, I can't stress enough how important it is to embrace that courage and that confidence, and just use your voice whenever you can.
Thank you. Erica, and tell me a little bit more about what drives your passion and purpose to also work with girls and empower the younger generation to embrace who they are.
Yeah, for me, I have been so lucky. And it's like I'm trying not to cry because they're on this call and they're texting me at the same time. But I have been so lucky to have amazing women in my life who kind of paved the way. And, like it was said earlier, I know there are people who are also watching, and she's watching too. My daughter is watching this call, and knowing that there are other girls out there that just need one person to say, I see you, I hear you, and I understand you. And so that's what drives the work that I do, is making sure I'm providing that space, whether it's in individual sessions or if it's in the group work that I do with girls, just letting them know, like, there is a space for you and your voice matters.
And how rewarding is that transformation when you help somebody else to recognize that actually they have a voice and they can be whoever they want to be?
I don't even know how to answer that. Like, how do you put it, how do you put it into words? It's amazing, right? I still have the first thank you note that I got from a girl that did a group with me years ago, that all it says is, thank you so much for holding space, right? And that, that's better than anything I could ever get. Like, it's just so awesome to know that just holding that space and giving room for them, creates this, who knows what they're going to be in the future, but it creates this amazing opportunity for them to grow.
If you don't mind, I want to ask you, you shared a little snippet of a story at school. And I'm sure you know which story I'm talking about. And that story really inspired me, which also just shows something that could happen in our lives that could hold us back from speaking up. Tell me a little bit more about the story that happened to you early on in your school.
Yeah, so I shared the story of in school, we were challenged to write essays, and it was who could write the most descriptive essay, and we didn't put our real names on the essays, and so the teacher would read the little blurb, and then we would vote on it. And so we got to the final round, and my essay won. And when I stood up and said, oh, it was me, instead of like, oh my God, that's so amazing, she's brilliant, she's going to be an amazing writer, it was laughter. And, and who knows if it was laughter just because I used a male name, and so they were surprised or whatever it was, but I internalized that as, your voice doesn't matter. And so I had vowed that day to never write anything ever again. And I didn't, right? I would write these stories and kind of keep it to myself and not share with anybody. And so then when this opportunity came up, I was like, all right, I've done all of this other work. It's now time to put this story out there.
And I remember when you shared this with me, you're like, I put the name on the story as Bob, and everybody was just laughing in the room. But I was so floored, as you say, just to hear that one experience could make us question ourselves for our nearly entire lives. Yet, Erica is brilliant at sharing her story. Erica is brilliant at doing the work that she does, perhaps not putting herself or her story forward enough to inspire other people. But this is the importance of you showing up. And it's so brave. It's so brave to share your story. It's so brave to pick up your essay and stand in front of the class like we're doing here nearly, right? It's so brave to do that because we always fear the biggest fear we have is the judgment of other people, that people are not going to accept us. The truth is, you're all enough. You're all worthy of sharing your story, and it's worthy of being shared and inspire other people. And I was so excited when I connected with Erica, and she told me a little bit about her story that she wanted to share. I said, Erica, you must tell your story. And it's just been amazing to just watch you, Erica, throughout this journey, just grow through it. And I know it hasn't been easy to share it, but here we are. And how exciting it is to hopefully next week finally hold the book in your hands. How do you feel about becoming an author finally?
It's like I said, no words. It's just amazing. I have no words. It's been an amazing process.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. And like I said, I encourage everyone to share their stories, even when it's difficult or scary. My own chapter nearly did not make it into the book, but more on that later. I certainly had that moment of fear of sharing my story as well. So next up, we have another amazing author, speaker, who's also held back her story for many years before she decided to be courageous, to step into her power and share her story. And it's so courageous because our next author has also still gone through some challenges whilst she was writing her chapter. So just because you've been through things in your life, it doesn't mean some things will not come back. But the truth is, she's much more empowered and equipped to go through these challenges today. So next up, I just want to celebrate Angelique for being so brave and continue on this process despite your own challenges throughout it.
Hi, everyone. Okay, first of all, I just have to say I am so overwhelmed with the attendance today. I'm so excited that you're all here, and I'm just grateful that you're taking this time out for yourself to be a little bit empowered and hopefully inspired. And I'm just really happy to share my story finally. As Ramonda said, it's been over 20 years since I've been wanting to write my story and share with you, you know, what the experiences that I've gone through, and are quite different than the rest of the authors. Of, we all go through our adversities in life, but for me, it was a little bit of trauma that had occurred over 20 years, and from that point, kind of manifested into acquiring a rare autoimmune disorder called myositis, dermatomyositis more specifically is what I have. And going through this journey, processing the trauma that we have in our lives, I know some of you out there might relate to that. It's not an easy process. We all have to process it differently. And for me, it just really manifested into a physical condition. And going through that was really hard, being, healthy physically, never having any health issues one day, and then the next day you're not able to brush your hair or take a shower or, do anything for yourself. And this is the kind of experience that I went through, and actually I'm still going through. But, going through these experiences have led me into a mindfulness way of life. being confined to a wheelchair and really just sitting in that dark place, not knowing what was going to happen before my diagnosis. It took them 4 months to do that. And I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones because there's so many patients out there with this disease that don't get that diagnosis for years sometimes. And so going through this experience, being in that chair had opened my eyes to something that I always knew was there for me. I knew I wanted to be a better person. I was that person that was stuck in the scarcity and like the blame and the judgment. And I knew I didn't want to be that person. And I really think that what I went through in terms of the trauma and having to deal with this disease that confined me to a wheelchair for, a couple years opened my heart and my mind to something much bigger, which was really going inward and looking at myself and looking at the things that I can control about overcoming the mental and the physical and the emotional challenges that we all go through. And being in that space for such a long time was just, of course it was emotional. I was in deep depression and really struggling to find hope to continue on, not knowing whether I was going to live or die, it's at times. And it's treachery. It's just, it's terrifying. And, when you're faced with that kind of mindset, it's really hard to get above water and really try to make it through each day when you can't move and you're in pain from head to toe. And all of these experiences are something that strengthened my heart and strengthened my mind to a life of intentional living, being more aware of who I want to be, how I want to live my life, and giving the second chance after acquiring full remission back in 2005. I immersed myself in alternative care, holistic care, a more intentional way of living. And it's really brought me so much peace and so much joy and so much compassion for myself and for others. I see things very differently now, and I feel just so much lighter. And now that, as Ramonda said, I relapsed last year with my dermatomyositis, and acquired 2 other autoimmune conditions along the way. I kept going through this book project because I knew it was so important, even now that I'm still having to deal and battle these conditions. It's so important that people know that they are not alone. And going through these chronic illnesses and diseases is no different than anything else. There's women leaders out there that, have businesses that still have to battle these chronic diseases and still battle the emotional frustrations and all the feelings that come along with chronic disease. And that's mainly what my inspiration is to tell my story, is that to inspire the chronic disease community, bring more awareness to not just myositis, but everything, all the diseases that affect people through their daily lives, because it's very hard to manage it. And you're trying to do the things that you love, like writing a book. And I'm just grateful that this time I have 20 years behind me of my mindfulness practice, where I have more peace for myself, more patience. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of compassion, and so many other things to just continue to persevere and thrive through the pain and through the disappointment, through the hurt, to continue to tell my story so that people like you out there can be inspired, hopefully, and find the hope to get through your adversities, whatever that might be. And so that's why I chose to share my story. Finally, after 20 years, I've been wanting to do this, and I'm so grateful that Ramonda has opened up this project, this space, this beautiful community to do that. And these women that are speaking here with me are just amazing, beautiful souls. And I'm so proud of all of you for being on this project with me. And Ramonda, you're just such a great leader. I'm so grateful to you and to everybody here that are here to support me and listen to my story and just share a bit of women empowerment, because that's what we all need, right? We all need to be inspired and find the hope to continue through our lives, as it's a crazy world out there, right? There's so much to process, and when you're dealing with chronic illness, it makes it really much more difficult. I know that. And that's why I also advocate for myositis. I'm a volunteer as well for the MSU organization. And I want to shout out to some of my volunteer friends here, my lovely, beautiful souls that are here to support me. And they're taking the time out of their painful days to support me and to be here and listen to all of these beautiful stories. It means a lot to me, and I'm so grateful for all of you, for your time and everything. And I'm so excited to get this book in my hand and share it with everybody. So thanks, Ramonda, once again, and thanks for everyone for showing up for me. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angelique. Thank you for your courage, your strength. And as you said, sometimes some of the things that we go through, some of the pains, physical, mental, emotional, that we go through are not always visible to the world. And sometimes we go through depression. That again is one of the things that goes without being visible, and pain and chronic illnesses. And this is why having compassion and creating safe spaces for us to share and be here to support each other is so, so important. And I celebrate your strength, Angelique, because through this process, you have not stopped smiling. You have not stopped showing up to our weekly calls. You have not stopped dedicating your best work to make the change with your chapter Inspire. And you have never said no, like, I cannot do this. You just kept going. And I just want to celebrate your courage and your strength to keep on going despite the difficult situations that you have had to go through, even whilst writing your chapter in this book. So thank you for being strong and courageous and persevering through. How are you all feeling? Are you feeling inspired? I want to see you in the chat. We have one, and I'm tearing up myself. Because this really means so, so much. Seeing these women's stories in the world touching you. And I know we're kind of getting you excited, but we're not giving you the book. I'm so sorry. The pre-order of the book, I will share the link in the chat in a moment, where you can pre-order your Kindle and have it delivered on the 28th of February, which is just a few days away. And then you can also order your hard copy. But today is just about meeting the authors and getting to know each other and just being in this space together. Well, I've also seen somebody in the chat that wanted to, maybe never occurred to you that you could share a story in a collective book like this. Maybe you have your own story. So after the next speaker, I will share a little bit more information how possibly you could be in the next volume, because the work that I am committed to is about empowering women and bringing women together to have a stage to create these opportunities for women to share their stories in the world. So bear with us, and I'll share some more information in the chat in a moment. But the next speaker, the last speaker of this evening, and we will have a collective get together afterward. Well, after our last speaker, she has been in my life for a little while, I would say just over a year. And I remember when I met her for the first time, I was interviewing her for the Women Thrive Summit, which is our annual women empowerment event. And I remember speaking to her and hearing her story, hearing her passion. Ladies, the walls in the room were shaking from sheer commitment and sheer passion that she was driving things through. She inspires me daily because she's been on this planet for a while, but her story is incredible and she keeps on going. She has this new motivation every day and it inspires me so much. Colette, you've been such a life changer in this journey. I'm so grateful to have you on this book and in my life, and I'm so grateful that actually your story continues. And when I read your chapter, I cried because it was truly the most beautiful chapter. Well, all of you ladies' chapters are beautiful, but Coilette's chapter is the last one in the book, but it's certainly not the least. And Colette, I'd love to hear from you. Share a little bit more about what inspired you to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Ray. You're so precious and so dear. Ladies, I don't know about the rest of you, but when she puts that link in the chat, if you don't push it, immediately something is wrong, because these women are incredible and every single story is just, oh my God, just unbelievable. By the time you get through, it's like, I can do anything. I can walk on water, I can fly, I can do anything, because these ladies are so phenomenal. So definitely, when she puts that link in there, push the button, okay? I'm so blessed and grateful to be here amongst these phenomenal individuals. What an honor, what an incredible honor. For me, this is, I guess, my 7th writing assignment. I have 4 books of my own, and this is my 3rd compilation that I've been involved in. But be that as it may, and those of you that may know me may know part of my story, I actually shared something in this book that I had never shared before. And I told Ray that it just felt right. I felt like it was the time to talk about that dark place that I found myself in one day. And really is what motivates me to really want to tell others how valuable you are, how valuable your life is. I don't care what your past is. I don't care what you've walked through. I don't care what's been done to you or what you may have done to someone else. You are valuable. You are valuable. So I'm gonna give you a little snippet of my story. I was given up for adoption at birth, and had children as a teenager, had my first child at 14, second child 8 days after I turned 16. By my early 20s, I was dealing with drugs and all kinds of things. So, I will be the first to say God is good. God is really, really good, because he pulled me out of a really, really dark place. But there was a point when I wanted to just say, just forget it all, just forget it all. And I think the crux of that place came from nobody reaffirming that I had value, that no matter what I had walked through, no matter what had occurred in my life, I still had value. I was here for a purpose and for a reason. And that's what I really want to convey out of my story, that no matter what it is, and trust me, I promise you 99.9% of anything that you can tell me that you've walked through, I can say, you've been there, did that, okay? Seriously, I am now 66 years old, and God has taken my life even on a new path and a new direction. So it's never too late. It's don't ever give up on your dreams, and you just have to know that you are here for such a time as this. This is important. This is so important. You've heard all these beautiful ladies share, and in their sharing, they've told you some of their stories. Because trust me, it goes much deeper than what you'll even see on the pages of this book for every single one of us. But nothing is minute. As Deepika started off saying, my trauma may be different from your trauma, but it doesn't make it any less traumatic. So everybody has their traumas that they walk through, but that's just it. You walk through them. There is another side. When you're going through something, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you're going through it to get to that other side. And on the other side, you will find out that, whew, okay, that was rough. But here I am. My claim to fame is that I'm still standing. I'm still here. No matter what has happened, I'm still standing. And that's what you have to take a hold of as you read these beautiful stories of overcoming. That's the whole purpose. Women thrive. As a woman, we can relate to one another in ways that, I'm sorry, we love our men, but they can never relate to. Because we go through things that they never will experience. We go through prejudices. We go through being told we need to just go sit down and be quiet someplace. We go through that self-doubt. We go through trying to be everything to everybody. We try to be the mother, the wife, the caretaker, the entrepreneur, the CEO, all of these different things. And think that we need to be that superwoman. And sometimes you get to that point and you go, hey, I'm turning in my cape, okay? I am not that superwoman. But when we can come together collectively, like we're doing right now, when you can come and join forces with other women that understand what it is that you're walking through, therein lies the power. And that's what's going to make this book so phenomenal. Because it's so powerful that we as women collectively have been able to come together and share our truths. And so that's why I'm telling you, when she puts that link in there, you need to push that button and get the book. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. I am so honored to be here with these phenomenal women. Seriously.
Thank you, Colette. I love your story. And you always say, this is the best time of my life. And you just shared it. You're 66 years old. In your 60s, you still achieved, I know you went to get your bachelor's degree.
I got all 3 degrees after I turned 60. All 3. All 3. And found my biological parents were after I turned 60. Let me tell you, this 6th decade on this earth has been nothing but discovery and manifestation and all kinds of things. So you're never too old, people. Just keep living. Just keep living.
Just to think that you could have given up. Yeah. At one point in your life, you could have given up on yourself. And look at how much you have achieved, the many accolades that you have achieved in your life through the different decades of your life, because we know each other a little bit deeper than that. And you've been on our summit, you shared your story, how inspiring. And Colette, you always say, age is nothing but a number. And you can be your best version of self at any time. You can decide that it's still worth living. He's still got so much more to give, and it's never too early and it's never too late.
No.
But like,
we are valuable.
Yeah.
We're all valuable.
Yeah. How was this journey for you as writing a book? Obviously not the first time, but sharing it once again.
Because, and I don't want to give too much away, but because I shared something in this story that I hadn't even shared with my children before, that it was very liberating. And I really, really deep within my spirit felt that there's somebody out here that needs to hear this, that's at that place, and they need to know. Just hold on. Just hold on. But more importantly, just know that your life has meaning. It has value. Don't throw it away. Hold on. Hold on. Everything in life, excuse me, has a season. We walk through different seasons of life. Some of them are really good, some of them are really bad, okay? But they're just a season and they will pass. Don't give up because you may be in a dark season. Hold on, because like winter's almost over. I was driving through South Carolina last week and saw trees with blossoms on them. I'm like, it's February. Where are these blossoms coming from? But just hold on, because that season will pass and there'll be a newness. And you don't want to give up and miss what's to come, because it's better. It's better.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Koila, as you're sharing this, like I got butterflies in my tummy. Just an opportunity of all of us being here right now, and having you all in the audience right now, supporting our authors, being inspired, here to support each other and creating this safe space to feel this inspiration and empowerment. It warms my heart, and it warms my heart to know that some of these stories will transform your lives. And I remember when I finished writing my chapter a few weeks ago, I finished writing my chapter and I was in tears. And all of a sudden, fear hit me. Fear of, should I be sharing my story? Can I let the story out into the world? And after some liberation of whether it should or should not, I decided I will start a new chapter. And I scrapped my original chapter and I went as far as writing a whole other chapter. And halfway through, I realized that this is not the story I need to be telling. This isn't the part of my story that I need to be sharing right now. Because 2 years ago, I have made a leap in my life where I walked out of my life as I knew it. And I remember driving away from my home and everything I have built, which on the outside looked like amazing life. But deep down inside, I knew it wasn't my journey anymore. I knew I had to liberate myself and take that scary leap and almost take off of the edge of the cliff and say, I need to fly. Because the moment that I was in my life was holding me back from living my purpose, from living my full and true potential. Because I felt like I wasn't living my true values. I was compromising on the things that my heart and my soul was calling me for. And I remember one day sitting in my bedroom and thinking, this life is no longer for me and I need to make a change. But that change was so scary. Like sharing this chapter in this book, that change was scary. But I remember as I was driving away from my home and the life that I have built, I asked myself, why are you doing this? And as I was driving away, I realized that I'm not just doing or making this decision for myself to make this big, courageous leap, to walk away from everything I have built and start a new life, but I was doing it for others. I was doing because I knew that my story would one day inspire and empower somebody else. Because there are other women who were going through or are going through the same thing that I was going through in my time that could change their lives. And perhaps they didn't have the courage, the strength, the self-belief to walk away from the things that were holding them back, that they knew they had to in order to pursue their goals and dreams. And I was driving away. I thought, this is so much bigger than me. This is so much bigger than just this decision, how I feel right now. It's about this story empowering other people. So as I was about to rip up my chapter, I had to remember that moment in my life to say, that's why I did it. That's why I walked through fire. That's why I faced so much criticism. That's why I faced so much pain. That's why I had to face so much change in my life in order to step into my purpose. And my purpose, I know, is to empower and inspire other women to stand in their purpose, in their voice. Because there was time in my life when I've lost my voice. You may be seeing me now on stages, creating amazing events, speaking to global audiences, and even showing other people how to use their voice to inspire others. But there was time in my life where I lost everything. I lost my voice, my identity, my confidence. I didn't have any of it. And that
Jesus Christ.
moment, thank you, Lauren. This was the time in my life where I didn't know how I would build myself back up, or if I ever had the strength to come back up and speak again. So there was time in my life when I didn't have a voice. And this is the reason why I feel so passionate today about not only bringing women to share their stories through a book and live their purpose, but to build a stage, a global stage for all women to have a voice. Because I believe it's so important that when we share our stories of overcoming defeat, overcoming adversity, again, we show others that it's possible. So if it was possible for me to overcome depression, it was possible for me to lose my voice and build it back again. If it was possible for me to leave my life that was so great and comfortable and start from zero again just a year and a half ago and rebuild myself again and be at the best place of my life I have ever been in, even when I hit a rock bottom a year and a half ago again. Look, if it's possible for me, it's possible for you. It doesn't matter where you are in the journey. And life, like I said, my life had to shake things up. That perfect life, the safe environment that I was in, the great home, all of the things that looked so amazing from the outside, my life had to shake me up. And as my life shook me up, it shook away everything that didn't belong in it and brought the things that I had to get aligned to, so I can keep doing my purpose work, so I can keep inspiring, so I could actually step into my truth, step into my authentic self and live the life that I was created for, live my purpose. So that's why I'm here today. And it's amazing to be surrounded by so many amazing and inspiring women on this journey who have been brave and courageous as well to share their stories and believed in my vision to bring this Women Thrive book together. This is Women Thrive, inspiring true stories of women overcoming adversity. And we're here to empower and inspire you. Take a moment. I get so fired up because this is truly what I'm feeling passionate about, seeing all of you share your story like this on a stage one day. So I will share a link in the comments if you feel like you feel inspired and you've been holding on to your story for too long and the world needs to hear it. The world needs to read or hear your story on stage. Head over to this link and put your application, it's a short application, put your interest in. And we are going to be doing volume 2 of the Women Thrive book with anticipation to launching it next fall. But it's been a beautiful journey, and I always encourage women to, go through this journey because I think it's been so healing for many of the authors and for me as well. And I'm so glad that my chapter has made it into the book. My own book, my chapter was going to be scrapped. All because I had this fear of actually just showing up. And honestly, it's some of the scariest things to put ourselves out there for people to judge us, for people to perhaps misunderstand us, for people to perhaps see things differently. But it's so amazing. I remember I gave it to Colette and one of my assistants to read my story, and they both come back. My assistant said, I am crying right now. I am crying because this is exactly what I'm going through right now. And I'm so grateful for you, Ray, because you've changed my life. And Colette came back to me and said, Ray, this is perfect. This is just what needs to go into this book right now. So thank you all so much. I would love to take any of your audience's questions right now if you would like to stick around, and I would love to spotlight our authors to have a little bit of a roundtable conversation about this journey, about what's perhaps yet to come, what you're excited about. It warms my heart to have all of you here in this room celebrating the launch of the book and just being here present in this room. Your time and your presence is the most valuable thing. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, helping us celebrate the beginning of what now is for us as authors, the end of our writing journey. But this is the beginning of this book's journey to touch many lives around the world. And I hope it touches many, many lives and transforms many lives around the world. Thank you so much. So I will spotlight our authors, and I'd love to take some questions from the audience. But what are you as authors excited about for this book to do? Well, I'll start with Colette just because I spotlighted Colette first, but I will keep spotlighting everyone else and get everyone else involved.
I am most excited about the healing that will come forth for women as they read the stories, because of the willingness to share our truths and to let women know that the feelings that they may be feeling, the things that they may be walking through, that they truly aren't alone. And the fact that, you know, there's something about knowing that someone can relate to what you're going through and they have become an overcomer in the midst of it, that will give you empowerment that you can do it too. You can do it too. None of us are, and I'm delicately trying to say, thinking of how to say this, because I want to say none of us are special. However, we are very special, each and every one of us. But when I say none of us are special, I mean in the fact that it's not that it could only happen for us. Whatever we've walked through, whatever we've overcome, you can too. You can too. And so my prayer is that there will be healing, you know, that will come forth, deliverance, and women finding their voice, women finding the courage to step out of an abusive relationship, finding the courage to press on no matter what was behind them, finding the courage that even if they're walking through sickness, they can do it with a smile and be pleasing and encouraging to others. Women to know that divorce is not the be all end all, okay? Just for women to know that maybe you were laughed at when you were in school, but look, baby, look at me now, okay? That you can say that, you know? So I'm really, really excited and looking forward to the healing that'll come through from the pages of this book.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And if you're feeling inspired, take a screenshot of all of us authors on the screen, tag us on social media if you wish to, and of course, follow other authors. Deepika, what are you most excited for this book to do?
Well, I'm really excited, as I said at the beginning, for all the first-time authors in this bunch to have that experience. So congratulations to the first-time authors in this group, and to anyone out there thinking of writing a book. If you have that little nudge within, follow it, do it. Your story deserves to be told. It deserves to be out there. Somebody needs to hear it. When I published my first book, I did it all because I felt there was one person out there who needed to hear the story. You know, and I didn't know who that person was. Turned out there was more than one person, and it's unlocked this whole new chapter of my own life. And I know the power of a single story to change people's lives. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of these incredible stories get into people's hands and for them to really be inspired by them. And what's usually really interesting is sometimes a part of your own story that you didn't even find particularly interesting or didn't realize would be resonating with others is actually the part that resonates. I have people from my first book who call me and go, page 25, third sentence, that hit. And I'm like, what was that? I ate an ice cream cone? I don't understand. How did that hit? But that's the thing about these stories. You just don't know what part of your story is going to resonate with somebody else. And I'm just so excited to hear from the people out there who will read it, who are ordering it right now, what parts of it they're going to be inspired by, because I think it's beyond what we can even imagine.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope you have ordered your book. So womenthrivesummit.com/book. And it's just amazing. What I want to encourage you as you read the chapters of the book, the chapters that do resonate with you, reach out to the authors, tell them that, you know, how much you enjoyed their stories, because we do this to truly touch some lives. And we may never know, honestly, we may never know how this book impacts many lives around the world, but we do hope to hear from some of you to say, you know, I read your chapter and I have enjoyed it. And of course I do. I would love to see your testimonies or reviews after you have read the book as well on Amazon or whichever channel you have purchased it from. Vicky, what are you most excited about? Thank you, Deepika.
I'm most excited about people feeling that they can reconnect back to themselves and start to view themselves with compassion, rather than listening to that powerfully strong inner critic who is not telling you the truth. And I would love it if people can let go of feeling that if they are struggling with any kind of addiction, that there is something wrong with them, that they are broken and that they need fixing. They just need perhaps a conversation, as you said, with somebody who understands them. We've already heard somebody say, I see you, I hear you, I understand you. And when you can have a conversation with somebody who you know gets it because you've read their story and you know they've been through it, I think it's a lot easier to actually admit that perhaps you're a little bit concerned about your behaviors and maybe you're a bit scared about getting some help because you don't know what it means. And just having a conversation is what I would like people to do more than anything. Talk with your friends or somebody that you can trust. And if you don't feel that you can trust somebody who's too close because they might judge you, then how about a conversation with one of us? I'd love people to reach out and have that conversation. But first of all, I'd love you to buy the book and read it, all of our stories, because as Deepika's just said, there may just be something in that story that is just a sentence that just makes you go, oh, that's the thing I needed to hear right now in that moment. And that's what it's all about. So thank you again, everybody, and hit that button.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Yes, truly so. And I've seen a question in one of the DMs asking about an audio book. Actually, in April, we're going to be doing a live reading of our chapters. So you will get to join us in an environment like this, where you get to hear from each author reading their chapters, not complete chapters, but parts of their chapters, and get to know each author more intimately. We'll be doing perhaps weekly or bi-weekly Q&A sessions with our authors. So the journey continues, because we want this to not just be a book that you perhaps just saw, you bought, and you left it on your shelf, you read it once, and that's it. We want this to be a journey. I always say this is a journey, because again, knowing that you can be part of something bigger than that, than just purchasing a book. For me, this is a community. This is my life work. This is my commitment. And I say mine, but I always say we when I refer to what we do, because without all these women in this room, without all the women in my team and our community, it wouldn't be possible. And I do this to bring people together, to make sure that we have this safe space to collaborate, to speak, to encourage each other, to just be us and have this space. Sometimes you just have to breathe out and say, you know what? It's safe. It's safe for me to be here in this space right now and just be myself and know I am enough. How many times and how many of you, and put a heart or put a one in the chat, has doubted yourself, felt like you're not good enough, felt like you were in a room and that room just didn't feel safe for you? Right? Maybe you didn't even feel okay in your own skin, in your own home anymore. It's okay. And I hope that in this room, as you look at everyone, and we have ladies from all around the world, women who are younger, from older generations and younger generations and from different backgrounds and experiences. But if we all can be here and just be ourselves and know that it's okay. We've been through pain, but we overcome it. And I know you are going to overcome anything that you're going through or have gone through in your life. I want to see some of you in the chat. If you have any questions or just comments, perhaps celebration messages for our authors, I would love to invite you because I think this is the kind of space we want to create, a safe space for you to share. Mary, I'd love to hear from you just a little bit more about your experience, what you're excited about, what you hope this book will do.
This experience, as I've touched on, has been nothing short of amazing, and I'm so excited now that everyone else can finally come along the ride, the same ride that we've been on for months now. And we've been having weekly meetings. I, unfortunately, for the first portion of it, was watching from afar because my time zone was very different. But one of the recurring themes was, what do you want to get out of this book? To all of us as authors. That was what Ray and her team kept coming back to. What do you want to happen? What is your end goal by telling this story? And for most of us, pretty much all of us, I think, it all keeps coming back to the same thing. If we can touch the lives of one person, which we already have. Robin, I'm not sure if you're still in here. Thank you so much for messaging, but we already have. I know that this has already changed one person, which means our mission is accomplished. This is a success. Everything we've come here to do has been done, and anything beyond that is just an amazing bonus. You know, for us to have one person read any part of it, even just the title, and go, well, if they can do it, so can I, and it changes their life. That is what we wanted you to get. That is what I wanted you to get. I wanted you to read these stories and not think, oh my God, life sucks, but think, well, life sucks, but if they can get through it, if they can find the courage to move forward, you know, even from something that looks like the biggest black hole that you feel like there's no way you can come out of it, there's a way that you can come out of it. You can't see it yet. You may not know what that path is, but that's okay. You don't have to know all of the answers. You just have to know that if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even if it's a centimeter in front, even if you need to take a rest before you put the next foot in front, that's all you need to do. That is your mission in life. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And eventually you will find that door, you will find that light, you will get out of it. You know, it's okay to feel like everything's too much, like everything's too exhausting. And that's what a lot of these stories are like. You know, you feel, all of us at various points in our life feel things that are just too hard, but you will get through it. And I really hope that your takeaway from that is that it's okay to feel like that, and it's okay to feel like you want to give up and you want to put that cape down, as Colette said, because sometimes that cape is so heavy and you just can't carry it anymore. But eventually you'll find the strength, whether it's on your own or whether it's a collective of women who will help carry that cape with you. You will find something. Ray, I can't look at you because you're making me want to cry too, but you will find that strength. So to me, this book was such a life-changing thing. And honestly, you read my story and you'll read what I've gone through, which I didn't want to touch on too much because for me, it's not as much of a learning story as it is just telling my story and hoping that others will feel elements in that. And I know that they will. But this journey alone, I've gone through so much while doing it. Personally, I've had some things happen. I had a really bad injury at work. Right when I was writing this story, I couldn't use my left hand because I sliced it open, and I'm in a cast typing one-handed trying to tell, and I was like, no, I'm going to get this story out there. You know, I was determined, which I wouldn't have done a couple of months before, I would have just given up and gone, it's too hard. But I had these women and I was so inspired by them. And then we're going through the launch, and throughout this launch, my mum's just been diagnosed with cancer, and we're going through all of that. And it's like, it doesn't stop, you know, the hits, they keep coming and they keep coming. But every time you get hit, you can take it more because you have the strength from the last time you hit and the last time you went through this pain. So knowing that you can do it, that you can get through it, that is your superpower. That is the only thing that you need to get through life, is the fact that you can, even when you think you can't, you can get through it. And I hope that every time you read this book, you get a little bit more strength. When you feel down, if you feel isolated, if you feel like you don't have that community, you do. Right here, you do. In the book, you do. And please, as Ray said, all of us would love to hear from you. We never know who we touch, and that's okay, because it's not up to us to know who we touch. It's up to the universe to know that someone is taking something from that book. But if you ever want to reach out, if you ever need a friend, all of us are here and we love you and you have a place. And this book is just so deeply personal that I am so thrilled to have people wanting to read it.
Thank you. Now I can bring you a box of tissues. We've cried. Me and Mary, we cried on this journey since the very first call and the second call. And Mary would text me sometimes in the middle of the night, because she's based in Australia, and say, I'm just watching the replay and this is amazing. And I'm going to go and do my homework, and I'm going to go start writing my chapter. And yeah, you know, things have happened along the way. And I just loved you watching your transformation, Mary, and you making me cry. Yes, we cried, we laughed, we enjoyed the journey, we overcome things, we struggle through things, and it's okay. It's just beautiful. I just also want to say that Mary is also a speaker at the Women Thrive Summit. So we have our annual Women Empowerment event, and Mary and Quaylette is a speaker this year for the Women Thrive Summit, as well as we're doing another panel with authors during the Women Thrive Summit. This is a free event. There are tickets to upgrade if you want to as well, but on the same link as I shared, womenthrivesummit.com, you can find out more details about this summit. This is a women empowerment event that we do every March, so around Women's History Month, because I believe that today, this time right now where we're in, we as women can come together and make history happen. And the Women Thrive Summit has become pretty much our flagship event, which takes us approximately 6 months to produce and put together. And this year we have 50 amazing speakers, and Mary and Quillette are two of our speakers here today. And it's truly an inspirational event, and another, well, it's same part of the community that we create and foster, and it's an opportunity for you to take part. It's a 1-week event. You can hop in and out as you can, but it's going to be live just like this, and you get to hear from every speaker in much more depth. So if you are inspired by Mary, you can join her talk during the Women Thrive Summit happening between the 20th and the 24th of March, and Quillette's story, and gets to meet us again on a panel like this during one of the sessions on the summit. Thank you, Robin. I've been seeing your comments, and thank you everyone for your beautiful celebrations, your comments in the chat, and just the love that you're sharing. We won't hold you up too much longer, but I want to ask something from each speaker for the remainder of the time, and invite you to ask questions if you have any. Nita, would love to hear from you as well. Just what makes you excited? What's after this book? What has been your story or your journey through this?
Well, the journey has been, to be honest, nothing short of inspiring, and it really gave me a chance to really delve into that self-discovery some more. And really, I hope that this book serves as an inspiration, you know, for other women who are looking to do the same. And I have this quote in my book where I say, you know, I never wanted to be the person who just sat and wondered and who dreamed without action. So I want that for every single one of the women out there. Is I want you to get up, and I don't want you to sit there and wonder any longer and dream without action. Put your dreams into motion, and whether you know it or not, your life story can be embraced and propel you forward and be your driving force to whatever you may want to accomplish. And whether you realize it or not, but every part of your life experiences have shaped you into the person that you are and gives you an opportunity to find your purpose. And you all have purpose. There's a reason why every single one of you are here with us in this world. And just like you take that time to work and you take that time to eat, take that time for self-discovery, take that time for yourself to embrace who you are and let it propel you forward. You all have the opportunity to be impactful. So step up your worth in your own eyes, because that's where it starts. And step up in that face of any adversity that you're facing and just continue to thrive.
Thank you so much, Nita. Your encouraging words and your graciousness it's always just beautiful to have you in our rooms and just have your passion, for what you do. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And
Thank
earlier,
you.
appreciate it. And Mary said, I've gone a whole hour without saying sorry. And Mary would come into to some of our meetings, and she would just apologize. She'd say, sorry, to the point where I'd say, Mary, I have a sorry jar for you. And every time you say sorry, you're going to put $1 in there. So at the end of this, this process, we'll see how many sorries we collected. And here's the thing. Don't ever apologize. Don't ever apologize, of course, unless you were in the wrong, but don't ever apologize for taking up space. Don't ever apologize for being you. Don't ever apologize for having a voice, for standing up for yourself or for others. Never apologize for believing in something and speaking up about it, doing something about injustice. Never apologize for your presence, because we women have apologized for our presence for far too long. We held our voices back. We didn't show up because we were told to stay small, insignificant, quiet, right? Never apologize for taking up that space. And this is why I love what Nita does, and encouraging women and young girls in her workplace and the work that she does for women to have the courage and to lead. And I appreciate your leadership, Nita, and what you did. You're very humble, so there's many things that you don't share in these rooms, but I just want to say I celebrate you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you beyond words. And I'm so appreciative to every single one of the women that have been part of this book project. You have had an impact on me beyond what I can possibly express. And I'm just so grateful. It's been amazing.
Thank you. So Jessica said, we men have so much to learn from you. Thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement. And by no means, just because we say it's Women Thrive, by no means we try to exclude men. It's simply to create safe space. And I'm grateful for the men who join these spaces, because you get to see the experience that women go through, perhaps the pain or the trauma or the things that we have had to go through historically, and how much courage and strength it has taken for us to rise and stand in our power, in our truth, own our voice, stand up for what we believe without the fear of being shut down or held back. I know I had to stand for that in my own journey. Not all the journey that I've shared with either in the book or in these rooms, because sometimes it's hard, but this is what keeps me driving. It keeps me doing this work, because I think the more we can step into our power, we can make changes. And I know when women are empowered, we can make a huge change, because like Nita, who has a charity, and many of you who do incredible and important work, when one woman is empowered, we make ripple effects in the world. We make a lot of difference. We bring communities together. We bring children, we bring life into this world. And if that's not enough, I don't know what is. So why do we still hold women back? We're the ones that bring magic, and we extend our generations. So why do we still hold women back? Because we are magical, we're great. And we do it with love and compassion and feminine energy that actually is needed. So people should not be afraid of women. They should be supporting women in rising up, because we can empower the next generation of people, right? Inspire them and do it with love. And the way women lead, they lead with love. So why be afraid of it? Who else would like to go next? Sorry, I get passionate and I just go. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next, Ray. Yeah, this whole journey, I mean, I am just loving this vibe right now and this energy that everybody is having. We're sharing this right now. And this whole experience for me in writing my story has been healing. Because I'm having to go back and relive some of, yeah, it's hard to have to relive, these experiences that, are behind us. But for me, it's there's still parts of me that were still needing to process, right? And still needing to heal from. And that just strengthens me even more. And it's been such a healing experience for me, and I'm sure it has been for all of us, on this book. There's healing vibes through writing our stories down and having to go back there and get those little parts of us that's like, oh, I didn't realize that still kind of hit me. Let me just sit with this for a moment and, just sit back and really reflect on those experiences again, because that strengthens ourselves, and then that empowerment, that energy comes out in our stories, and hopefully it reaches to the reader, and gives them that same empowerment and the same healing. So for this book, I'm excited to see the connections that it makes. When someone reads this book and shares it with their girlfriend or their sister or their mother, or, it just sparks these conversations and it gets people excited. I want them to get excited by connecting with each other. And, just being able to create that community around them and want to be able to heal themselves through these stories by kind of reaching in, reflecting in on their own. So, because that's someone's, that's so healing for all of us, is to tap in back into those experiences and those emotions and all the thoughts that, have been powerful for us, and have made us that much stronger. So I'm excited for it to bring more connection with the women and even men who, want to read these stories and share them with each other and reach out to us. And I hope that we as authors, we get to connect with our readers and connect more with the people that are, reaching out for that guidance as well. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm just the connection and the community that it's going to create, and hopefully the awareness, around all of these different things that we stand for, all of the charities, all of the people that, we are close to. For me, it's my chronic disease and the community that I've immersed myself in with, and I'm just so grateful to have them. And so that connection for me at a time when I really needed them the most, as I started to relapse, with my condition, it's like, wow, I mean, it's divine timing for me, really. And being able to share my story, being able to be with them and lean on them for support and also advocate for them, but through my story, it just means the world to me. And I'm just so thrilled to be a part of this project. And you ladies are just amazing. And everyone here, thanks, so again, for all of your support. And I really hope that you get this book, and I really hope that you click that button to apply to write your story, because it's going to be healing, it's going to be powerful, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to uplift you even more And so I really hope that you do that. Thanks, Ray, again.
Thank you. I'm excited about community. We seem to create the community behind the scenes to start with and create beautiful relationships with the intention to make an impact. But now is the opportunity for all of you to be part of our community. So within the next few days, you may receive another email to remind you and celebrate the book launch of The Women Thrive. Of course, if you do not wish to receive any further emails from us, feel free to unsubscribe. We don't want to be a nuisance in your inbox. But if you do want to continue on this journey, we will invite you to join a free community that we have on Circle, where you can connect with others. We hope that you get to join the Women Thrive Summit and hear from other community members and our speakers, and just actively participate and know that, you know, you can come into the space at any time and have the support. I love to foster a lot of diversity, inclusion within our community. And so that means you can meet anyone from any parts of the world, of people with different experiences who you will resonate and you connect with. So it's always here for you. All right, so I posted the links again if anybody wanted to make an application for the next book. Yeah, so we have an amazing community. I've been doing this since 2017. And in the first year when I started, I couldn't believe the amount of people that just felt the same way, that they needed this community. And the first year we reached 100,000 followers in the first year. And so when I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not alone with having this crazy idea of people coming together. And just the work that we've been putting in consistently. The first thing I started was just writing quotes. Every morning I would wake up and I'd feel inspired by something. I'd be like, okay, just writing quotes every day. And it seems like, you know, it just inspired many other people, because again, when sometimes we go through things and we just need that word of encouragement. So our Instagram grew really quickly. And now we have an amazing community on Facebook. We have 300, I don't know, to get across all the platforms, we've got more than 600,000 followers worldwide, which is pretty epic, knowing that we've only been here for 5 years doing this work, and just how many people we reach around the world, and messages that we receive on a daily basis, like, wow, we really need this community. In the last few years, Women Thrive has become our annual women empowerment event. But also we have a magazine platform. So Women Thrive is also a magazine platform where some of the stories of our authors and speakers you'll get to hear, you will get to read in the magazine. We have a podcast. So when I say we create a stage, the truth, I didn't build this community for my own glory or for myself, because I don't need that. You know, I'm quite happy doing what I do behind the scenes and creating these private rooms with these women and just helping them out. But the women I work with need a stage, because it's not always they have, like I said, had a voice or had an opportunity of people who given them stage. So through my work, we try to have at least 30% of our speaking engagements dedicated to first-time speakers. We take open applications on our magazine for people to contribute their knowledge and their stories. So we can spread your message. We can spread your stories across the world to all these amazing women. We don't reach the whole world, but we do have 600,000 women in our audience, which is an amazing place to amplify somebody's message. And so that's just a beautiful platform that we have built, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to serve so many. I'll love to invite Erica to share something, and then Vicky. And then if anybody else would like to share anything from the audience, just a few words for our authors of encouragement, would love to hear from you as well. Erica, over to you.
Yeah, I guess what I am most excited about when it comes to this book is the stories that are going to come after it's out there, right? The people who get inspired from what we have shared and what we have written and start sharing their stories. I'm excited to see what this becomes in the future.
Amazing. What was your highlight of this project for you so far?
Honestly, the weekly calls, like connecting with all of you and just knowing that I'm not alone, right? Like hearing your stories, and as we kind of talked about like the process for us, it was like, okay, like I can do this. Like I'm not the only person that's struggling with this. And so to me, that was probably the best part of this whole experience.
Yeah, me too. And seeing you all grow through this process. And, you know, I love most co-authored books don't do this. Sometimes when you join co-authored book projects, you don't even know who's on co-authored book projects. But this, like, I want to do it differently because I want these connections and I want to help women grow through it, because I know how difficult it is to write your story and sometimes it can be really lonely. So I've intentionally made this process to be really involved and engaged, because I believe that is important part of creating connections within the book and then outside the book. Vicky, over to you. And if anybody would like to share anything, I would love to invite you as well to share.
I think, I mean, I've shared my little bit already, but what I just want to add is that I think everyone who has spoken tonight and everybody who's made comments in the chat is here because, as you have put so eloquently, Ray, we all need that space and that place where we can feel safe among other women. And every single one of us doesn't feel special or different. We feel that we are unique and we have something to share. And that's every single one of you who's on this call and every single person who reads the book. And I'll be honest, when I used to hear the phrase, well, if I can do it, you can do it, my first thought used to be, yeah, right, sure. So for me, that's not an inspiring phrase. But when I can read the words that people have written that talk about their feelings and their thoughts of the process and what is going on at the time for them, and you recognize that, okay, actually they're not that different to me, they do think the same things, and when they say that if I can do it, you can, perhaps they are telling the truth. And that's what I'd like to just add. So have a read of all of our stories. And it's not a book. The beauty of this book is you don't have to sit down and read it all in one go. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. You can just dip in to a chapter, a story. And I'm a great believer in the universe, as I've shared in my chapter. And no matter what page you open, or whatever time you open it, there's something on that page you need to be reading on that day. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Grab your copy tonight or over the weekend and get stuck in.
Yay, thank you so much. We have a live in-person book launch event in London, so myself and Vicky will be meeting in London on the 9th of March. If you are in London or anywhere close by and you'd love to meet us in person, please feel free to do that. As we dot around the world, it's not so easy to host in-person launch event, hence why we're doing it virtually. So we are going to come back in April to do author chapter reading. So we will keep you informed. As I said, if you want to stay in contact, stay on our mailing list. But of course, if you don't, no hard feelings, feel free to unsubscribe. Anybody who would like to share from the audience, perhaps to say a few words, please feel free to say something here today.
Hello, everyone. Does anybody can hear me?
Hi.
Hi. Can I say a few words to everyone?
Of course.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for the opportunity to actually sharing my thoughts, because I just joined today. I didn't realize what I was joining for. And I have to say, I am so touched, ladies, for your courage, as I said, for break your old boundaries and come up and share your stories. And in many cases, how difficult it was for yourselves. But I can tell you, if one person like myself, I could be so inspiring already from just that small review. I think many women can be so inspired by all your work, what you did. And I think whole your community will grow even bigger and stronger. And it's not only for now, I think, it's for our future generation. Because I have my two daughters who are age now 3 and 6, but I know by joining communities like that in the future, we will build up amazing future for women. So thank you so much for tonight. I really didn't think that I get such a treat and such inspiration for amazing stories. And like I said, a lot of them just really touched my heart as well. And they are very, very close to my soul as well. So well done to you all. And thank you so much for being here, for I think all women who need to hear that.
Oh, thank you.
Right. I want to say a few words from men's side. Like I mentioned, we have so much to learn from women. Your session was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to reading the book and learning from you. And I would love to see, obviously, I'm assuming that in the book, there'll be advice for us. So how we can be better people, how we can not create problems, at least be good enough not to create problems if we cannot help. Ideally, I feel we should, men should be like the, providing the platform for women to really have, be at their best. I feel that we should do that. But there's so much to learn. So today I felt like there's so many things we guys have no idea. So I humbly am looking forward to reading the book and learning from all of you. So you did an amazing job. I don't have words to thank you enough. And please keep it up, because there's so many others who can learn from you, not only women, but also men. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it. I was looking at your kind of responses as throughout the session, and I was like, that's so nice to have women in this room, men in this room who also celebrate women, and just for having the presence here to support us and also share your voice of celebration for us. I really appreciate that. And glad to hear this touched you today. Thank you.
Hi, hope I could jump in. This is Rick Judge. I'm actually blessed to be the husband of Neetu Judge. And I just want to say that the stories that you guys, women, have all shared today and the experiences through life you guys have gone are amazing. And it's such courage to see yourself stand up and be able to talk your truth. And as a man, I will tell you, especially as a father to little baby girls, nothing breathes me more pride than seeing strong women, because women truly are magical. They do make this world a beautiful place. And when I could see my two little baby girls growing up and have leadership like the women on this team, on this call, and of course my bias of my amazing, beautiful wife, Neetu, that works tirelessly for them every day, and no matter what, always finds a way to bring positivity to the home. I mean, it's a blessing. So it's inspiring, it's encouraging. And I just wanted to say thank you all for sharing your stories, and thank you for letting us be a part of it.
Thank you, Rick. So beautiful. Neetu, that was your husband. How exciting to have your husband support here. Do you want to say a few words?
Yes, he's really good at making me cry. No, that was amazing, and he's been so supportive of this entire book project, and it's really exciting to have him on today in support. And it's just a really exciting moment for my daughters who are watching me from the other room, actually. So it's really exciting. We're gonna have a little party afterwards and celebrate with our girls, and so it's really come full circle. And I appreciate you, Rick. And I want to give a shout out to just Farrell Gill, who is like a mentor to me. And the very first company I ever worked at was his company. So Versus Systems. And I'm just so grateful for all the opportunities that I've had along my journey. I've had numerous mentors, a big support system, and I really couldn't have been here without my entire support system, which now includes all of you ladies and everyone on the call. So just feeling very grateful and blessed.
Thank you, Neetu, and thank you all who come out to support Neetu here. She's my inspiration. We met a few years ago, but it's always a pleasure to have her in our rooms. And I keep saying, Neetu, you have to come and speak on our stages, because just your strength and your presence and the work that you've done over the years that, again, perhaps go uncelebrated or unspoken about, just because you're selfless in doing what you're doing. But I keep encouraging you just because I know the amazing impact that you're making in the world. And I just want to see, you know, your story and your testimony and your experience, which is so important, especially in leadership. And I know you take a big role in your community in leadership, to help others, to show others how to be a great leader with great values and be the example, set the example. So as it's been a pleasure getting to know you over the years, and I will continue being your supporter.
Thank you. I'm so humbled, and thank you for everything that you do for women on a global scale. It's impactful beyond what you can even imagine. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, I hope you have a beautiful celebration. We're not going to hold you up much longer. If anybody else would like to say a few more words, please feel free to unmute, raise your hand, and we'll bring you up.
Hello, I'm Shirley Jenkins, and I just wanted to say I'm so proud of my baby girl, Erica Tatum Shade. So this has just been wonderful and so inspiring, and I'm just so proud of her.
Thank you. Anybody else here who's supporting each other who would like to say a few words? And Erica, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, thank you. She's been texting me this whole time. So I'm like, oh gosh, but she's been sending words of encouragement the whole time. So I really appreciate her being here.
Amazing. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to share? Lydia?
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you to my amazing, beautiful friend, Angelique, for inviting me to listen in. I share some similar stories to some of the ladies, and I just cried, and I feel inspired, and I'm starting to cry again. But I absolutely loved hearing everybody's stories, and I can't wait to read the book, and I congratulate each and every one of you. This was just an amazing event. So thank you.
Lydia, you are an amazing, beautiful sister. I've known Lydia now since high school, and we've been soul sisters ever since. And Lydia, yes, you need to tell your story as well, my dear. So I really hope that you do that, you know, because you're an amazing person, and I'm so grateful for you to be here and everyone else. So thanks for that, Lydia. I love you.
Thank you. Thanks, Lydia. Thanks, Angelique. Go ahead, Robin.
On camera, just in case. I wasn't sure if you were calling out everybody or just the authors.
Yeah, I would love to hear from you, Robin, and anybody else who would like to share anything.
I've made a lovely Sunday gravy, although it's not Sunday here. I just am blown away by the fact that we have people from all over the globe here that have probably traveled some distances, and I'm not sure where you all are sitting today, but by accent and name and just everybody looks so wonderful. I'm in a sweatshirt in my kitchen, so I'll apologize. I'm not dressed professionally today, but I have been just really, I guess the word inspired is the only one I can come up with right now. Just about the conversation, the level of conversation, the high quality. You'll just have an amazing way of, I guess, just keeping everything sort of flowing. You know, we're very emotional beings. We're very emotional people, and the things we've covered here today have been very heavy. And still, this call has gone smoothly, and just so positive, so focused on the positive. And I wasn't sure about logging in today just because I knew there would be some weight to this, and especially this week for me with my daughter's birthday. You know, I get choked up too. So just the strength in the room virtually, I can't imagine if we were all in the same physical place today. So I just want to say thank you. I did apply to write with the group. So I've been researching different publishers and different editors for about a year, and thinking about writing something that could actually be published for about 5 years. And so this has been life-changing for me. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, Robin. It's been lovely to see you in a chat, and I celebrate you for coming on to share, but also about writing your story, whether you would join a co-authored book project or on your own. It's just keep going, and you'll have a lot of fears and doubts creep in, but just keep on going because your story needs to get out into the world. I'm so excited for you. Thank you. It's beautiful to connect with you. Shawana, I see your hand also raised.
Hi, thank you guys for tonight. Really, really, really grateful for hearing your stories and being inspired to write. And I'm really giving a big shout out to Vicky, my coach, who is supporting me through some tough days and a lot of corners and a lot of uphill and slides and up and around about. So your stories have really matched the pace of journey that I'm currently on. And for all you women doing a great work to inspire others and to share your story, truly, truly grateful. James, I think it's James, yes. I can't see the first name properly because of the way my screen is.
Coilette.
I can't. So I'm really, really grateful for your share as well. Thank you all, ladies. It's been a wonderful time listening and being inspired and motivated, and you have really created a growth space tonight. Whether we write or not, we have grown up. So thank you all very much.
Appreciate it. Vicky, would you like to respond?
I would. Yeah, I want to say, Shauna, thank you for being here. And you need to write your story for sure. This is one lady who is inspiring to me. Absolutely. So thank you for being here. And I do hope to speak to you very soon, which I know I will be. And thank you for listening in and for commenting. Really appreciate it.
Beautiful. So nice to see so much support in the room and so much love. I've been looking at another attendee who joined us and been with us throughout. I'm not sure whether you would want to share something, but I've been looking at Helen. Helen, would you like to come on for a second to share if how is this experience for you?
Hi. Yeah, it was really good. I know Vicky, so I'm here to support Vicky, and it's really great to meet all of you and hear your stories. I'm really looking forward to reading the book.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. We hope to meet you in London if you're in London for in-person book launch.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else who would like to share anything? And if not, we'll come to a close because I don't want to hold up too much of your time. I know it's a weekend. Okay. And anybody of the authors who would like to share one or two words before we close out? Yeah. I always like to create safe space for everyone to share. Coilette, share a few words with us.
I first and foremost, thank you all for joining us today. It means the world to us. It really, really does. For some that this is their first literary journey, they were very, very nervous about this and about how it would be received. And you've all been so gracious and so kind, and we really, really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Some of you have been on with us for 2 hours, and that's very, very encouraging. It's very, very encouraging. So thank you so much. And please pass on the word. If you know someone else that could really benefit from the stories that are in this book, pass it on. Let them know that you were here today and you heard some incredible input from the ladies that are in the book, and that they should go and buy the book. So yeah, pass it on. And again, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks, Coilette. Thank you. Appreciate you. Deepika.
Keep going. Whatever you guys are going through, the fact that you came to this session today, you spent the last 2 hours with us, and I don't know about you guys, it felt like 2 minutes to me. I could go on talking to all of you all day long like this. Whatever emotional fields you are traversing today, keep going. The 8 of us are here to show you that you can keep going. There is some place on the other side of this to get to. And it has been my honor, and I think the honor of my fellow co-authors, to spend this time with you today. So we hope you got exactly what you needed from today in every possible way.
Thank you, Deepika. Anybody else from authors who would like to share anything?
Yeah, just, I echo what the girls just said, just honor yourself for being here today and taking this time out of your Saturday to have a little self-love and some self-care for yourself. That says a whole lot. And, there's so much more out there. There's so much more hope and inspiration. And again, like Colette said, please share with your friends and family or anyone you know who could use some inspiration and empowerment, because again, we all need it. And as a community, we need to stick together and we need to support each other and continue that. So I'm just want to honor you for being here with us today. And we are so grateful. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Nita, just before we finish.
Just so grateful to everyone that joined and supported, and grateful for all of you co-authors. And let's all be inspired together, and let's keep going, like Deepika said. And there's newer and newer heights, and there's newer and newer experiences that we can all have together collectively and inspire one another too. So it's the opportunities are endless, and so are the possibilities. So let's see what's in store next.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Robin, this has meant so much. Very touching. Best Saturday I've had in some time. That's so beautiful. Mary, before we finish.
Honestly, I know we're all saying it, but we cannot say it enough. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for, just listening to us and giving us your valuable time. It means so much to us. This is why we are here. This is why we're telling our story. So just thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Erica, just before we finish.
Yeah, just echoing what everybody else has already said, thank you so much. Thank you for the support. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the stories that come after our stories.
Yeah, I love that. Vicky, I'm not sure if I had you last words. Keep coming back to you.
Okay, so hopefully some of you can show up in person. It would be awesome to meet some of you if you are in London on the 9th of March. And yeah, just go buy the book and read it as soon as you can.
Thank you. It's 99 cents. I mean, it's 99 cents on Kindle. Order it. Spread a word if you can. We appreciate your support and helping us spread a word. The paperback will be available on the 28th to order. We will let you know via email, and it will be the lowest price it could be. I think it was $4.44 for our launch, so it's super cheap, and you can get a hard paperback copy. Of course, if you're friends with one of your authors, you might want to get it signed. Or if you're close enough to one of us or attending our in-person event, of course, myself and Vicky will be in London on the 9th, doing some signed copies as well as some special goodie bags for those who attend. But for now, thank you for being part of this virtual celebration along with us. Thank you for supporting the authors and the book. Maybe it's the first time you've joined one of our events. I'm so grateful for all of you. If you get to join the Women Thrive Summit, that's happening 20th to 24th of March, bookmark your diary. On Wednesday that week, we're going to have another panel with our authors, so you get to reconnect. Through the summit, you get to meet other amazing women, whether you're in business or not. This is a fantastic personal development journey. We talk about a lot of healing and personal growth, confidence building, marketing visibility, finding your purpose, and all the amazing women are just super, super inspiring. And we always try to, some of you have said, how you manage to create a inspiring event despite talking about some of the difficult things we've been through in life. Well, these things are meant to be inspiring for others, because we don't want to be wallowing in our self-pity or in the pain. We want to inspire hope and this is what we're here to do, that it's possible. And our saying is, rise and thrive. Let's all rise and thrive despite our challenges, despite the difficulties. Last year, when we were hosting Women Thrive Summit, we were on a cusp of just war was getting started. So the energy was so heavy in the whole world. And it was so difficult. But despite that, we tried to create positive environment and a community for everyone. So there will be always something going on in the world, in your life. But there's one thing I ask from all of you is to make a commitment. Make a commitment to yourself. Make a commitment to your journey. Make a commitment to making a difference, to sharing your voice, to speaking up about things and being present. When I say being present, your presence means everything. And your presence in whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're speaking with one person, whether you're attending an event, whether you're being with your family and friends, be present in that moment. Take it, because that moment will never come around again. And you being here, this moment will never come around again. Okay, so we can only share this as a replay for other people who never made to this room, but you've been here, you've experienced, and hopefully us sharing our stories helps you experience something within yourself. Maybe open new pathways of inspiration, courage, thoughts, visions, reflections. Hopefully that's what it's done for you today. Thank you all so much. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any feedback, please feel free to email us, connect with our authors. In the book, you'll have everyone's contact details. And we look forward to your reviews. I think it's going to be just amazing to hear what your thoughts are. And yeah, I celebrate your authors. You've done incredibly well. Thank you. I celebrate you. We all got here till the end of the beginning of this journey for our readers. So I celebrate you. Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks, everyone. So beautiful to see you here. Have the best of the weekends, and we look forward to seeing you on another event. Take care for
Ray,
now.
we celebrate you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't all be here. So thank you for all that you do. Seriously.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to lead you. So, and such inspiring women. I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.